Yeah.
Well, see, I figured something out too. Like when I did the drink and draw as a concept, it was because illustrators tend, you guys are chatty, but not necessarily right away, right? So you have to put you guys in an environment where you're comfortable. And again, your first language, and I don't mean this like as in like you can't speak the language, but you rather show what you see and
Yeah.
talk about it. So if we're
Yeah.
doing that, you're suddenly much more amenable to chat. It's funny how
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're getting people in their element. That's
mhm.
yeah, people get excited about what they're doing, right? So yeah, it makes
Absolutely.
sense. Makes
Absolutely.
sense.
So I mean, so the drinking and draws tend to go longer now, ironically, because of that. Because it's just like tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I am drawing Earthworm Jim because it's Earthworm frickin' Jim, right?
I mean, how can you not? How can you
Yeah,
not draw Earthworm Jim at some point?
exactly, exactly. Well, I tend to be leaning towards more expressive styles. That's for my
Yeah.
because I'm trying to get ultimately into comics, so it
Yeah,
makes sense.
absolutely.
So it makes sense that I do expression, and so that's Dr. Seuss, that's Earthworm Jim, that's Zelda, that's that
Oh
whole.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I gotta say my favorite. I gotta say I do enjoy drawing Link. I do enjoy drawing Link a lot. I drew him with like the most obnoxious boots ever. I literally call that piece obnoxious boots. I actually tried drawing Doctor Doom for the first time.
Okay.
He's hilarious, right? Harder than he looks. I find
It's all harder than it looks. Yeah.
some are easier than others. Like the ones that I thought that would like kill me. Like I tried drawing John Stewart once, and I thought, oh god, this is gonna be hard. But he was actually shape wise, he was actually okay,
Okay.
right? But
Yeah.
then I'm like,
Well, and
I'll draw a Lego character, and the Lego character kicked my ass. Like, just totally kicked my ass. And
well, all of these characters have very different structure, and all of the artists have different styles, and so you're trying to like come at that and recreate it. It's no easy task for sure.
no, but
Yeah.
some of them are easier than others. Like I like Dr. Seuss. I appreciate his simplicity, right?
Mm.
Because he's
Mm.
really really good. I figured out the secret to the Grinch's smile. It's just a couple lines in the grin. It's all it
Yeah.
really takes, and you have the grin, and then you have the Grinch. You figure out the Grinch right there. It's that simple, right? And but then there's like Lego. Lego is, oh come on, it's just blocks. How hard can that be? The blocks
Yeah.
are easy. The face is so hard because if
It's so different.
you screw up even a little bit, it don't look like Lego. Like it has such an iconic look. You cannot screw it up.
Yeah, and it's so geometrically perfect too, and yeah, that's
So I mean, the things you think that I think are hard, I found were easier than I expected, and the things I think are easy kick my ass. I gotta
wow.
admit, say like the hard, anatomically speaking, I'm not saying this just because I have a problem. Boobs were the hardest thing for me for a while. I had to actually figure out how to do them, right? Because it's just a different it's amazing like the elements of things you learn as you draw,
Yeah.
and like shapes and shadows are very very interesting, and it doesn't take
Hmm.
much to make it look unbelievable, which is what I've
Yeah.
actually found to be the thing. Whereas it takes a little bit, and then suddenly boom, you got it.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but like my favorite stuff I've done so far: Duck Dodgers, Obnoxious Boots Link, just um, I actually didn't know Kay Storm. Like the X-Men cartoon version of her is actually very human looking,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed that drawing her like that. John Stewart Green Lantern I enjoyed, and obviously Ninja Turtles is just stupid fun, like stupid fun to draw Ninja Turtles. So
They're turtles. Gotta love them.
yeah.
So I'm really curious. So tell me about like you're getting into drawing, you're enjoying the process, you're learning as you go. Like are you finding any structure in how you're approaching it? Are you just like trying to kind of like learn from the artists that you know of and love, like all of these comic artists?
So, okay. So there's a couple of things. First off, Ricardo, I'll pray for you. I'll get Jesus to pray for you, Ricardo. Okay, we'll do that. But for everybody else watching, or not watching, as the case may be, here's the thing. Comics, like when you look at comic books, they're not necessarily realistic in the sense that they're not anatomically necessarily correct. They're not like this hyper real thing. And
it's like almost like a caricature.
Yeah, very much so. So I'm looking at not just like traditional Western. I'm looking at like anime. If you look at that style, it's very, very, very. It's very simple seeming, but what they all have in common is storytelling. Right? So here's my approach. This has been my approach the whole time. I'm not worried about being good. Right? First and foremost, I'm trying to have fun.
Yeah.
But the second part is, okay, I'm more interested in telling a story than I am in being good. Yeah. So the material I'm copying or emulating is stuff that's incredibly expressive and tells great. Like I mentioned the Grinch.
Yeah.
Grinch is So Christmas is one of the best, but one of the reasons it's so good is the character of the Grinch. You see it when the drawing, the expression, how he moves, what he looks like. You get this like evil and intense monster when you look at him, and like he's the most terrifying Santa ever. Like, if you really look at him, like he's legit. I mean, seriously, red suit, beard, his eyes are like bloodshot, and he's got this like ass grin. And the dog, and the other part of the story is the dog is like one antlered dog who's like, why are you dragging me into this? I don't want anything to do with it.
It's kind of like you as a viewer. I don't want to be here.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
But it's such brilliant storytelling. And it adds, like I would make the argument that Dr. Seuss is one of the 3 greatest graphic novelists of all time. And the reason being is he does this perfect combination of words and pictures. As silly as his wordplay can be, it's clever. And the pictures enhance everything he does, whether it's Fox and Socks or it's Cat in a Hat or The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, all of this stuff fits so perfectly within the world Seuss constructs. It's like it's brilliant storytelling. Now the next step for me is color. Because I need to get in. I have to start playing with color because the color is the ultimate language of expression. I think when it comes to pencils and inks, you can do a lot with just pencils and inks. Don't get me wrong, but color is like another dimension of expression and thought, and you cannot take that lightly. So when I'm doing this, when I'm writing about this or drawing this, like what I am actually trying to learn is I'm trying to learn how to tell a story with the pictures. And that's expression, right? And I'm actually like you read it. I know you were very flattered by it when you read Lights Out, right? There's going to be sequentials in that. Like there's going to be like a Twitch stream in sequentials. And I'm doing 8-bit Legend of Zelda as the Twitch game going on. He's going to be catching fairies. Yeah. And like that's going to be like the first scene. Like he's going to be catching fairies in the original Legend of Zelda game. And the reason why it ties into the whole Lights Out theme of light goes on, like the fairy in the dark, the fairy in the bottle is not something like a light bulb. Right, and I actually I really dug that about Legend of Zelda. But you can tell like a neat little story. It's that quest for light. Light is life. It's a very subtle thing, but it's storytelling. And I'm using a Twitch stream like this to tell a story, and I think that's a neat idea, and I can create a more immersive experience when I do that. And I'm scared to death because I had like that. I'm actually going to care about that being good to some degree. But well, you read the job. I know you were very humbled by it. So for those people watching and listening, so Josh.
In case you don't know what he's talking about.
So I wrote a novel called Lights Out. And so Josh, when he came on my show, look at Josh. He looks like a wizard. Like he honestly looks like a wizard. He really does. Long hair, the glasses. Like he just puts on like a hat and he has a wand. He totally would pull it off. So I actually have a representation of Josh in the story. In that story, Josh goes out on a quest before my main character disappears himself, which is, without spoiling too much, is the end of the story. But one of the things is, so Josh informs my character Montag basically about individuality, the whole idea of what the world would be like without technology, and that I thought would be a fun way to include him. And obviously, you enjoyed that.
It's so flattering, man.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
So my good friend Rachel Neal, who's also a friend of yours, she just reached out to me out of the blue, and she does this a lot. She's just really good for that. And she's just like, she had been on your first round of beta readers, I think, and she had just gotten through the book, and she reached out to me, and she's like, "Hey, Josh, like, I don't think she had talked to you about this. She wasn't sure, but she got the impression that this character was like me without even having talked to you about it. And I thought that was so cool. And she's like, yeah, like I think it's like a really cool part of the book, and I just thought you should know that. And so as soon as I heard that, I was like, man, Josh, like that's so cool.
Well,
and so when I heard that you were looking for more beta readers, I was like,
I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
Me. I need to see this.
You gotta see this, and like I said, I definitely have some things to work on from the emotional standpoint of the book. Like drafts two, no one's going to read. Draft 3, maybe. Draft 4, yes. Like draft 4 would be like, that's the one I'm gonna probably present to my editor, because I gotta do some more a little bit more world building. A little bit for draft 2, and then draft 3, I want to add some emotional resonances to it. It's partially a homage to Fahrenheit 451. I don't know if you actually read that book or not, but if you did,
saw the references, but I haven't read the book.
Yeah,
I have a general idea of what happens, though, kind of.
Yeah, so some of the beats were the same, and that's on purpose, right? But it's one of those things where I was like, yeah, I think I dug it, and also the other thing too, and I think you got this very much. Drawing is a big part of Lights Out.
Yeah.
So I thought the drink and draws, I figured you of all people would actually appreciate the fact that the drink and draws have played a very, very subtle reference in terms of even how I write now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely, reading through it, like it you know, looking at anyone's artwork, you kind of see a part of the artist and what they do. And I've been really fortunate to know a few writers in my lifetime, mostly just you and Rachel. And reading both of them, like it's really cool that I get to kind of see this. Usually, like in Rachel's case, I knew her before I knew her as a writer. And also, I like having talked to you last time, I haven't read any of your stuff before that. And then now to have the privilege to do a beta read of some of your stuff and Rachel's stuff. It's really cool to see how you get an idea of like someone's character through their writing. No, in a good way. Like it's just kind of cool to see. And like it's I think spoke really well on you. Like your writing was really fluid, and everything just like spoke a lot of truth and a lot of wisdom, and it was just amazing. I really liked it.
So the beat my own head up a little bit, move my own head up live on the air here. Are you saying I'm a wise dude?
I totally am. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll take it. I really think I don't know what I'm doing, but I mean, and I say this, and I say this, I'm like not to humble myself. One of the things I've learned in life is you just put yourself out there and good things happen. That's literally, and it's true whether you ask a girl out on a date, whether you put your art out into the world, you do stuff, good things happen.
Yeah.
Like the other thing I'm going to mention out here, acquired very, I've been doing audio messages to people for the last like week and a half.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, the responses I've gotten by and large, I think I've traumatized some people because I was being very kind, and I think the saddest commentary I think I can say about this time, honestly, right, is this: That my message to you was what, 45 seconds. Sit there and
Mhm.
everything, just 45 seconds. I spent a minute essentially to be kind to you.
Mhm.
That's it. It was just a minute of my time. What a difference a minute of kindness can make.
Yeah.
And how sad is it to me? Like, to me, this is the saddest thing about this time, honestly.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting each other, so much about wear a mask or don't wear a mask, or the vaccine is good, or the. You don't change hearts and minds trying to tell people what's right. No one's going to
Yeah.
listen to you. You try to tell me that I'm wrong, I'm probably going to look at you like you're on some bad drugs. Hey, it's like, Josh, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're going to be like, okay, buddy, fuck you too, right? I mean, that's what you're going to say, right? But I do the opposite. I listen to people, everybody. And
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with everything I'm listening to, but it opens a dialogue. When you actually take the time to listen to somebody, even sometimes the most crazy sounding ideas aren't really that crazy when someone actually explains where they're coming from. At the
Yeah.
very least, you understand it. And when you
Yeah.
understand it, you can empathize. You might even agree with parts of it.
And
Like
regardless, you're gonna learn something.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't now need to hate anybody. And I just took it one step further. Now in my list, I'm being kind. Right? I'm
Mhm.
just going out there and just saying very nice things to just everybody in general. And it's cool. I've gotten some recorded messages back, which has been like that I think is the coolest response.
Mhm.
The sometimes people won't respond for days. Like I've actually had this response where it's just like, what do I do with this? Like
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, and
It's caught so off guard. Yeah.
it was because it was but it's so easy to do. I think
Yeah.
that really, and that's the thing. Like we could very like what an opportunity this time has been to reach out to everybody and say, "Hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
I don't give a rat's ass about your politics. I don't give a rat's ass about where you think I stand on the mask. I really don't give a rat's ass where you stand on the vaccines. I really don't give a rat's ass about a lot of this stuff. Doesn't really matter if you really sit there and think about it. Most of
Mm.
it doesn't. Well, here's what matters. We are in this position together.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent, we're going to come out of this together. Now we
Yeah.
have a choice. We can come out of this with a little bit more empathy towards our fellow man because we've all gone through a little trauma this year, some more than others in different ways. Some people
Mhm.
lost their business. Some people lost friends to COVID. Some people lost family to COVID. Some people lost their livelihood. Some people were depressed beyond belief because they were isolated and alone. If you sit
Mhm.
there and look at it, suffering has been a pretty universal theme for the last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why are we not being kinder to each other in this time? Because that is,
Well, such a good question, Josh.
yeah.
Well, because it takes a lot of energy to give.
Hmm.
Um, and I think right now, like people are just so drained and and if you're just are having a hard time even being kind to yourself, then it's hard to like put that out to someone else. Even though like it would feel great and like it gives you energy back giving to other people.
Hmm.
But you just kind of go into and I'm speaking from experience, like I've
Sure.
had a really hard time um, maintaining connections with people who are further away. Um, just because it just feels like everything is so right here. Like you're just in your own head, your problems feel so big, and you just lose track of like what's important. And and so like yeah, giving and sharing love with people is like such a fantastic thing for sure. Um, but you're just a special human. Like you've got the capacity to do that. And even just like listening to your message that you sent me, yeah, it was 45 seconds long, but like you hit all the notes that you needed to in it. And I don't know how long it would take you to prepare that, to think about
That
like
was
what would
literally
be
off the
good to
cuff, dude.
say. Yeah, but like the fact that you can remember things about me and my character and like compliment me on them, like that's such a special thing. And like that's all you.
Dude, honestly, here's the secret. Like, I've interviewed people for 20 years. I can't
Yeah,
say I remember every face. Like, it does get blurry sometimes in terms of faces.
yeah,
But I never forget the impressions I make on people. And I think for me, it's just, I'm genuinely interested in person.
yeah, yeah,
And again, I've learned a long time ago that people aren't different in terms of, we all want the same things. And the other thing too, like for me personally, I've been through my own apocalypse. Like everything, like I think for me, everything COVID could scare me with, I've already been through. I
mm,
faced my own mortality. I know I'm going to die someday, and it's probably going to be painful.
mm,
That eliminates a lot of the sting COVID can do right there.
yeah.
Right. The second part is I had a very weird sickness a few years back, and I literally
Oh
watched my
yeah.
body turn red. I had some stuff coming out of me. Like it's almost unbelievable
Oh
looking
no.
back. Yeah, but I had no control over what was happening to my body,
Yeah,
and so that's, if you want to talk about humbling, taking for granted your ability to walk properly is,
yeah.
oh my god, like that things you take for granted when you are suddenly taken from you.
Hmm.
So again, but from my perspective, there's nothing this can take from me because I've already been there. So it's a
Yeah.
very different feeling for me than someone who's been going through this for the
Hmm.
first time. In
Hmm.
my perspective, nothing's really changed. The world has
Mm.
always been fragile. I
Yeah.
think just what's happened now is people recognize this a lot more clearly. Life
Yeah.
is a fragile thing, right?
Yeah.
And you have to kind of make your own peace with that fragility. And I
Yeah.
think for everybody that's a little different. And so, but I answered that question 10 years ago.
Mm.
So for me, it's like I've been there, and that experience helped me here. So it doesn't terrify. It doesn't mean I'm not, like, there aren't days where I don't go a little stark raving mad. I think we all have in this time.
Yeah.
But it 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 doesn't hit me the same way. I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I whether I get the virus, that's okay. Whether I
Yeah.
get the vaccine or not, that's okay. Like, it doesn't hit me the same way because everything that could happen to me, I've already accepted. So
Yeah.
it's not, and I don't, and the other thing too is I don't really have much to lose. And that's
Mm.
actually an advantage in a situation like this. When you already have nothing really to lose, all you really got is yourself. And
Mm.
that is freeing if you let it be, right? But
Yeah.
the hard part is that first little bit when you recognize you're in the storm and it's, oh my god, it's so much bigger than me. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But in the storm, you can't run from who you are,
Yeah.
and that can turn you to dust or can make you a diamond. So
Oh.
for everybody else, and that's true because light, that's the ultimate pressure cooker, right? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
that is the ultimate pressure cooker. So I don't. Again, so me, I'm never going to tell somebody take the vaccine and saves lives. Not That's not me. I'm not going to
Mm.
tell you, um, you know, don't wear a mask because it's a conspiracy. That's not me either. I don't care. Like, either whatever you choose to do with your life, I'm very much live
Mm.
that life. Don't be a dick. If someone's wearing a mask, don't go up to them and go, "Hey, buddy," and be cruel. Don't be cruel.
Mm.
But really, as long as I mean, everybody, there has been no consistent answer in Canada about what to do. Like, there's been no consistency. There's been no integrity. I can't
Mm.
blame anybody for what they do. Period.
Mm.
As long as they don't try to deliberately hurt anybody else, there's really nothing I'm going to say to you. What I
Yeah.
care about is, who are you becoming?
Yeah.
Because this won't last. What will
Hmm.
last, what the skills and the techniques and the things you learn about yourself now, because they're going to
Yeah.
carry forward long after this is gone. And almost
Yeah.
everybody that's going through this right now is going to come out of this a lot stronger than they were when they went into this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's kind of how I see it. And really, to be honest, that's really all I care about, because in the grand scheme of things, in one very real sense, nothing's really changed. Life has always been this way. This is just a moment in time where everybody had to kind of be away from each other. But that
Yeah.
moment's ending. You can see it. You can see the end in sight now.
Yeah.
So, does everything I say make sense, or do I sound completely batshit crazy?
No, you're coming from a valid point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, not everyone's gonna agree with you,
Well,
and
no,
that's fine.
yeah,
That's
no,
fine
no.
too.
I just want to make sure I don't sound crazy to you. Like whatever,
No,
whatever. And again,
I'm
you're gonna
catching what
have,
you're throwing.
yeah, and you're gonna have your own answer to this too, and it's not gonna be my answer. But that's
Hmm.
actually a great thing. You know why? Because I don't know everything. I'm
Yeah.
fucking crazy. I mean, I am the best way. I'm crazy. I acknowledge this, right?
Yeah.
But you gotta. But you have to be real about the world is always going to be bigger than you.
Hmm.
Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is just, okay, what can I do in this time? So
Hmm.
going back to those audio messages, it's like, oh, I can be kind to people. And that doesn't cost me a damn thing. And I don't
Hmm.
really care where you stand. I'm still going to be nice to you, because
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really. I'm not gonna let this time divide me from the people I really care about. Even if they do disagree with me, who cares? Life will. You know, I can disagree with you and still have a beer over it, but with you, who cares? I mean, like
Yeah.
maybe I'll learn something from you, and that's
Well,
actually.
that's such a powerful perspective, Joshua. Like, I really, if everyone had a little bit of that, it'd be a lot more of a peaceful place, I think.
Yeah.
But I think also, I mean, like, even just what you're talking about, I think that there's a lot of strength in diversity.
Hmm.
And like to turn this into like a bit of a story, like when I was
Sure.
working at my crappy grocery store job when I was living in Kelowna, I was just, when I first started there, I was so upset. I was so upset that I needed to work there to like support my creative career. Um, and that's a whole nother problem. But
Yeah.
when I was there, like I was like, how can other people not kind of like share this frustration? And I would talk to people and like kind of get their opinions on like where they're at and where they want to be and how they're, you know, are they okay with being treated the way they are? Like all of this stuff. And eventually I realized that like, hold on, wait up. If everyone was like me, no one would be doing that job.
Yeah.
And the world would cease to function.
Hmm.
Um, And so it's really important that there are different kinds of people out there who, you know, take on these roles. And even if it is like some, what some might say is like a negative thing, maybe they're doing a bad thing. Well, maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's helping us become stronger, helping us ask better questions about like what needs to be done and like improve lives that way. I don't know. I just think that, yeah, like if everyone was on exactly the same page, we'd be like bananas,
Oh, we would
right?
get
Like the monocrop that one bacterial fungal infection comes in and wipes out all the bananas, which is what's happening right now. I just heard this a while ago, and this has happened a few times, but I think yeah,
no,
it's our
it's true.
diversity
Well,
that
no,
makes
no,
us
no,
strong.
no. It's what you're saying is true. Like, look, I mean, variety is important. I lived in so I got a chance to work for one of my heroes. Not going to name names because it didn't go well. But the thing I remember about the environment was I was in a almost completely Mormon community for 2 years.
Mm.
So the expectations in that city were very unhealthy to a lot of the people there. A lot of
Mm.
people played the role that they were expected to play, and they went with it and they did whatever. But I remember watching this and looking at this, and it's like this can't be healthy for people. And then you start really getting to know some of these people, and you recognize like one of my friends was gay, and he was looking to marry somebody so he wouldn't be harassed for being who he was. And it was the
Yeah.
nature of the environment that made him think in those terms, right? Then there's people that just can put up the front like I'm this, and in reality there's something completely different.
Yeah.
And what happens tends to happen in this culture where everybody has this role, and again, this is quietly happening even during this time in Canada right now. There
Hmm.
are mandates, and then there's what people are actually doing, and that's going
Hmm.
to become more and more a thing as time goes on,
Hmm.
because there's just are built to be different. People are built to do things differently,
Yeah.
and you can't keep people in a static place forever. We're not built that way. We just aren't.
Yeah.
So the concept is a terrible one. It's just
Yeah.
an incredibly terrible one. It was not built to like you need like I loved like when I went back to Calgary, I loved it the second time.
Mm.
No one was the same, and it was
Mm.
wonderful. I had no, I loved it. Like I would talk to somebody who was, you know, a trans, like feminist. Like I don't know if that's the right term because of the gender. Gender's always confused the crap out of me with trans because I don't. I'm so used to things being a set way that I screw this up all the time. So any of my trans friends listen to this, I'm sorry I screw it up. I try. I really do. It's a hard thing to deal with. But
That's
the
what
fact is,
matters.
yeah, yeah. Um, but the fact that they stand for certain things. Then I'll meet somebody who's more of a classic conservative individual that believes in certain like civil rights. Then I'll meet somebody that's somewhere in the middle. Then I'll meet
Hmm.
somebody else that is a complete like everything is expressed on their tattoos that they wear. Then I'll meet somebody
Mm.
like me who has no tattoos and it's just kind of just them. Then I'll meet
Yeah.
somebody like, and every person has this wonderful like expressiveness to them that I absolutely adore.
Mm.
And like I'm thankful that I lived in that community because it loosened me the fuck up. Like when I
Mm.
got out of there, it was like I am so live and let live now, right? And
Yeah.
and everything I've done afterwards because you need that variety. You need people to be different, look at things different, question things differently, do things differently, and furthermore, you need the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, if people start questioning about thinking things a certain way or doing things a certain way, and it's not a question of it's not a question of I'm questioning your actions, I'm questioning your thoughts themselves. That's terrifying. You
Mm.
can't. That is dangerous. Um, you need that freedom, right?
Mm.
You because that freedom is the only way we change and grow. If we
Hmm.
curb it, people stop changing, and or rather, they stop changing in healthy ways. They
Yeah.
change in other ways that aren't so healthy. And
Yeah. Like, I don't think you can really stop people from being the individuals that they are, but they just, you kind of start breaking people,
well,
making them uncomfortable with who they are. And
there's a biblical verse about new wine in old skin. The idea is the old wine skins. You can't put new wine in them because the
and
skin is done, like it's been used up. Every
interesting.
right, it's a biblical concept. You can't do that. The idea is everything that's new that comes in is new. It has to fit its own parameters, whatever those parameters are. So I mean, it made me realize something like when I have if I do have kids, I would love to have kids, I think, someday. But if I do, they're going to be different from me. Hopefully better, but different, right? Right? Um, right?
That's the greatest achievement of a teacher, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what you hope for. Like you reckon you. I am old enough to recognize where I'm a fuck up, where I actually need to work on things. So my job is recognizing those things and trying. My kids will be me somewhat. Like they can't escape that. They're going to make some of my mistakes. That's just part of life. But what I hope is that they learn better than I did. That's kind of my hope. But the other thing is, it's my job. It's my job to let my kids be themselves, whoever they will be, and whatever they become. My job is to make sure that they have the environment where they can do that.
Yeah.
And I'd be just enough of a tyrant where they don't take over the house. But I mean, that's the inner bed. That's where my inner supervillain can come out a little bit, and then the rest. But you have to be
get out of the cupboard.
Well, you have to be a bit of like, look, kid. Like the role of your kids ultimately is to take over your house. Whether it's 6 years, now at 18 they win the game. Your objective as a parent is to make sure at least until they're 12, when they can start making those decisions for themselves. Whenever that age is, you don't want them to rule the house at 6. They can't do it. But when they're able to start making decisions and deal with consequences, you can start like ceding power, because now you don't need to be the villain anymore. You can be like, okay, you go do that, and if you fall, I'll pick you up. But otherwise, go nuts, right? But you gotta be enough of a parent, enough of a tyrant when they're younger. It's like, no, you can't do that, because I said so. That's not. I don't care. This is not how.
That's just the way it is.
That's
buddy.
Right. That's totally right. But that's the whole deal, right? You gotta be that way, especially when you do have to be a bit more of a tyrant when they're younger, because again, they're trying to take over the house. They're still trying, but the thing is, and to some degree, I mean, let's be honest, kids always quietly rule the house anyway, whether because you brought them in and they're going to do what they damn well please, and there's only so much control you can have. But the reality is, right? You have to create the environment where they can grow. And when they're younger, you have to be a little firmer on the reins. And as they get older, you can start being less and less firm and let them discover who they are. That's how my dad raised me, and it worked. I mean, I am the wonderful person you see today as a result. So I mean, that's good, that's bad, or whatever the case may be, right? But people have this. Hold on a second here. Oh, all right. So I have a friend of mine watching this. She can't comment. Dory says hi, but no, yeah, but the thing about that is, right? We live it like that. That's the role, right? That's the role. Like, so my job. So again, because I've been in these environments where I've seen all this, like, you don't want this whitewashed universal ever in no situation. You need people to be themselves. And like I said, that's a very biblical verse. New wine can't exist in an old skin. That tells you that all these traditions and rules we have a time limit. And like I'm still young enough where I can still change relatively. All right. So I got, if I'm going to have kids, it's probably going to be in the next few years, because when I get to about like 50 or 60, I'm going to be like, I'm the hillbilly now. Dang it. Right? and that's because I'll be somewhat set in my ways. That's how it works. Like there's a point where it's not so easy to change anymore. And there's also that point where you recognize too that some of your flaws aren't going to correct themselves anymore. Right? How much work are you really willing to make that change? As you get older, that gets harder. So you're right, because there's that comfort point of who you are. There's recognizing where you're full of crap, and then there's a little bit of that part of you that just doesn't care anyway, and that's normal. That's why I think the elderly become almost kids the second time, because they're at that point. It's like, I've lived my life, I've done my thing. Fuck it, this is just who I am, and that's great. But that also means harder for them to change. I'm still young enough that I can still change and grow and become more accepting and wise and all that other wonderful, bull. And right, I can still do that. But the older I get, the harder that would be. Then again, maybe that's why God's waited so long to give me kids, because at this point, because it would force me to grow and change and evolve, and it would be the most uncomfortable thing in the world. It's like, damn it, you cannot be a hillbilly in your 50s, Josh. We're gonna keep you progressive all the way until your 90s. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think everyone has the capacity to keep themselves accountable and flexible. And I think it's kind of the idea that you will get hardened in your ways that kind of enables you to do that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Well, you have to be aware of it. I think it's just human at some point to recognize that there's going to come a point where you probably won't care as much, right? And I think that's realistic too. I mean, look, man, I like my ice cream. There might come up one day where I might have to give it up, and I might not want to. And I'm going to be okay with the consequences of me not giving up the ice cream is, right? As silly as that example is,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
we all have that in us, right?
Yeah.
So as you get older, it's easier. So that's something I've noticed now, right? I'm a lot more comfortable. I'm a lot more comfortable being, who I am, and that's great. I can still.
That is great.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
A little further down the road, it's like, I might have an ice cream problem. Do I really want to fix
Maybe
that?
I'm too comfortable in who I am.
Yeah, exactly. It's fair though, right? I mean, that's just that is a very and you're gonna lose some of those battles too. I think that's where I'm coming from. You got to recognize that you're not going to win every battle. You're not supposed to, I don't think, but you're not going to, right?
Yeah.
I might have an ice cream problem well into my 70s or 80s or 90s if I make it that far. I might be okay with that, and I might find my inner peace with that. I'm Josh. I have an ice cream problem. Hi, Josh.
All the old folks in the circle. Yeah, I still just can't drop it. Oh yeah, Josh, it's a hard one.
and I picked that one as a fun one because who hates ice cream? I mean, really.
Yeah, it's hard. I remember I started getting problems with dairy when I was in high school. And I loved ice cream. I really did. Like growing up in Abbotsford, there's an ice cream dairy farm called Birchwood Dairy in the Chilliwack area, and they made fresh ice cream. And we would go there on a summer day, and they had a park, like a swing set, and it was like a kid's dream. You go out there, there's like just a huge line of ice creams, and anyways, I'm fantasizing a little bit now, but I used to love ice cream, and then I hit that point where it's like I can't do this to myself. Like I'm gonna hurt myself by filling this void that is ice cream, and so yeah, I've had to learn to live without. And
it's okay. It's okay. I'm sorry about your pain back. I'm sorry.
Well, if anything, it can be done.
Yeah.
I was there with you, but
it can be done.
So at some point, it can be done. Something will come up that's like, you know what? It's time. And you'll be ready for it.
but at that point though, it's okay to say though, if I say I have an ice cream problem in my author bio, would you hold that against me?
No, actually, I would hold you accountable to it because that would be awesome. Oh man.
I'm Josh. I have an ice cream problem, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Josh. I'm a writer. I'm a wise guy. I recognize that I have an ice cream problem. Here's my book.
Yes.
Read it.
He has an ice cream problem, but he doesn't want help. Just doesn't want
He's too far gone.
help.
There's no helping
Oh my
him.
god.
Yeah, hey, you know what? Actually, I don't know if this is gonna work.
Huh. Okay. Nice. Lean into it. Original, unique, made in Canada.
It's my catchphrase
Yep.
from I think it was 2019. Lean into it.
That's right.
So much so, and I preached that message for so long that my mom made me a shirt for my birthday with it on it. And yeah, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta like embrace yourself and embrace what makes you you. And if
Exactly.
an ice cream addiction is like something that you identify with and you love about yourself, just
That's
lean
right.
into it.
That's right. I have a comic book problem. I have a comic book problem as well. I think I'm still 12. That's the thing. I think I'm still 12 years old at heart. That's what it is. And yeah, it just like, you know. Yeah.
Hey, you know, why wait to like become an old person to be 12 again when you can just be 12 the whole time?
Well, it is awkward because you know at some point you do want to show you have some maturity a little bit sometimes. Although I
Yeah.
do hate being the only adult in the room. It does
Mm.
happen more now. I'm old enough where I'm like, actually, even when people are older than me, sometimes I'm like, why am I the adult in this room? What the fuck happened here? Why am
Yeah.
I the mature one? Why am I the mature? Wait, I'm the mature one? Oh, we're screwed. Right? And it does happen. It's like I remember I met Larry Dixon and Mercedes Lackey, and they're both amazing people. And I went to Larry. So who's the mature one between you two? Because they're both incredibly silly, wonderful people. Larry thought about it for a second. It's like, oh shit, it's me. It's like, oh. And I'm like, oh god, we're like so screwed because Larry's a riot. Like he is such a riot, and the best compliment I can give about both Larry Dixon and Mercedes Lackey is that they make you want to be better people. There's very few people like
That's such a profound thing.
Yeah, they just do. Like they are such gentle people, like incredibly gentle people that you cannot help but think, how can I be more like that? And that's honestly that is the biggest compliment I can give to both Larry and Misty is they are those kind of people.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's so immature in like the best way, and it's like he's the mature one between both of them. It's like, oh god.
I hope they watch this now.
I hope so too. Actually, I like, but don't like that's like there are people in life you're very fortunate if you're very fortunate to meet them. They will change how you see the world in like the better. They can show you where you can be a better person. And for me, those two were two examples of people for me that's like I could be better, and those are people to model as people to be after. And that's how they and more in how they treat others, right? And that's what I love about it, and that's why I like you want people like that in your life. You know, we should
Absolutely.
We should probably draw something at some point here.
At some point, we should.
Yeah. So I got my artwork. I got my Earthworm. I got the Earthworm Jim. I'm going to try to draw. What are you going to draw tonight, my friend?
That's a very good question, and I've pondered this over the last few days. And I keep going back to, so I'll be honest, I haven't been doing a lot of art. Well, art in the traditional fine art sense. I have been working on a painting for a little while, but I've been mostly focusing on doing the guitar building. But what still calls to me right now is the forest.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No,
So
and
you take,
I'm not apologizing for it either. It's
no.
I dig it. I love it. But it's I just feel like maybe I did do that last time. I'm gonna roll with it. Maybe if I show up 100 more times, I'll do forests every single time. Find a
So
way to keep it interesting.
well, I don't. Hey, man, you can do force anytime you want. Although I do have a fun little challenge for you, though.
Okay,
Let's
I'm
do
game.
some of the. You have this like really tranquil, serene style with your work. The thing I really
Mm,
dig about you, there's like almost like like an inner serenity with you,
mm.
right? Which is really cool. It comes
I
out.
really appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank
you
you.
do. You do. But I think here's the thing. I think about. Here's my challenge for you. I'm being silly and having fun. Now I got to get more serious eventually. And I think when I get color, I'm going to not necessarily take myself more seriously, but I will like at that point I'll start really studying anatomy. At that point I really start doing some of the get the fundamental stuff, at least
Yeah.
for myself a little bit that way.
Mm,
So then when I get silly again, it actually like doing different things informs the language of what you do, right?
yeah.
So for example, you're doing trees. You do these very, very calm, quiet trees. So here's my challenge for you. Draw trees that are composing music. If they were playing in a concert, how would they look like, swaying, sound like
Mm.
what would like the
Hmm.
story there to that? Because could you do it? Because it moves you just an inch out of your comfort zone.
That came from a very different place than I expected it to. I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna go like, okay, like you do a lot of tranquil stuff, you do a lot of like
No.
these kind of peaceful scenes. Why don't you try to do the same scene, but make it like intense, make it like angry?
No, 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 no,
No,
no,
that
no,
it's
no,
that's really
no.
cool though.
Anger, honestly, for you, I think is boring. No, I say that honestly. I think anger for you is boring, because because I'm not saying you don't have the capacity to do it,
Mm,
but that really, I don't think that would push you, because
mm,
all you'd have to do would be like, okay, what don't I do, and then
mm.
just do that. And as an exercise, that's fine. I'm not doing that with you because, frankly, that isn't you. I'm gonna, I'm going, I, I'm going. Still do you,
Yeah.
but almost like jazz it up. Like
Okay.
instead of doing a straight, tranquil, peaceful scene, I don't want you to be angry or intense, but I want to
Hmm.
almost have a whimsy, maybe a little bit more whimsical than what you
Okay.
normally do. Because
Okay.
whimsy, I think, would challenge you
Yeah.
because because laughter, serenity, humor, those are more challenging emotions to express on a page. They're far more challenging than anger,
Yeah.
right? And even
It's a more subtle thing, and subtlety is hard to capture.
that's
Yeah.
right. And I
Yeah.
think you'd enjoy the challenge of subtlety. That's my get, and that's a guess.
You're getting right in there.
That's a challenge. Can you be subtle enough to give it away without, and you wouldn't have to change very much of what you normally do,
Mm,
but it's you got to think about it a little bit more. And I
hmm.
think for you, that seems interesting. I could be wrong.
I am interested. I
Yeah.
think I have a decent idea of how I'm gonna approach it.
Okay.
I think you've given me a good prompt, and I appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Let's see.
by the way, On Vu is I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I'm a big fan of On. She's watching and listening to this right now.
Okay.
Everywhere through a porous is different, and she says to have fun, right? Have fun with it. And it's like, yeah, everyone's path through a forest varies. Have fun with it. And I absolutely agree with it. All
Yeah.
I'm asking you to do is just change your variation just slightly this time. The next time you
Mhm.
come back, because you will come back, you can go back.
Of
You can,
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. You can do your thing, but you should definitely. On. You should definitely meet Josh. Josh is really cool, and you should meet On. She is actually I will be honest. I love working with Kenzie. I love working. I'm really looking forward to working with On this year. Um, we've talked very quietly about a novel series of mine, and
Okay.
she does like the most amazing, like pulpy, like women. Period. Like she's amazing at it. So I have this parallel universe kind of dragon slaying story, and my main character is basically a pulpy heroine along the lines of Parker, right?
Oh,
Along the
interesting.
lines
Okay.
of Parker, but she's trying to become a good person, so she has a code of honor like Parker does. So I'm really excited because On is so creative and fun that I think she's going to kill it, and she's going to force me to be better because it's like, holy crap, she's good. I gotta. No, she really is. I really can't wait to work with her this year. Like so I have a book up for an award. I gotta get the sequel to that done.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I got a book up for an award, and when that goes live, that's the next draft I'm working on right now. And then Lights Out, which you've already seen, is another book. But in the middle of that is my bigger book, and that's the one I want On to do because I think she's gonna have fun. I'm gonna give her lots of cool shit to draw, and and I think the other thing too, she's just like I said, it's just you always love learning from people you work with, and she's already taught me a lot about drawing. So it's like she gave me one of the most important lessons I've ever learned about with drawing. So it's just like it's just someone I really want to work with. So
Yeah, of course.
So meet Josh. Josh, meet On.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm sure Josh will make some rad connection happen.
Yeah.
You work magic.
Yes. Yes. All right. So I'm gonna do Earthworm Jim. And so I'm gonna go back and forth on this. So by the way, since we last talked, I use these now as well. I use inks.
Okay.
Ink lines. So I've evolved a little bit. Now like the next step for me is color. That's where I'm going next. So
Sweet.
Yeah, so
yeah,
you want to shift
I'm
your
looking forward
screen?
to it.
You want to shift your screen to show people what you're doing here, and I'll
Yeah. I'm gonna
go like this.
So how does this work? I'm gonna try and actually get this right this time, because last time my camera was upside down the whole time, and I think that was a little bit subpar. So I'm gonna see if I can elastic my phone onto my lamp here.
Sorry, one second here. I'm just replying to On while we're talking.
That's all good.
Yeah. So no, like I said, it's so easy. It's so easy to be a fan of. And honestly, I've said this on many a show. I am genuinely flattered people want to come on and draw with me. Like I said, in terms of skill level, I have a long way. Hey, Doris, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Yeah.
All right.
So
we're almost there.
We're almost there. And as for me, I got my magic pencil. Just out of curiosity, did you ever play Earthworm Jim?
Man.
If you didn't,
I think at one point I definitely did, but it's been a long time. I have a hard time. I know the character.
I think you know what? I don't know anyone that hates the character. He's like one of those characters that people are just like, it's so cool it's made.
So how's the lighting here? It's pretty okay.
Let's take a look here. I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, you could have been on Twitch this whole time, Doris. Absolutely. You could have. In fact, I prefer if people are on Twitch.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Not too shabby.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see here. The hunt always gets harder to find a blank page in my sketchbook, which means that I'm doing something right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Me too. I'm actually going to get an art book soon, which I think is just like crazy. I never like if you'd asked me even a year ago, would you have done this? No, I never would have done this. Now I'm like, here I am. I'm doing this almost every week now.
All right. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy how things just kind of change.
Yeah.
I always saw it like, man, I just want to be like a gallery showing worldwide artist. Like that's my goal. That's what success looks like for me. And then time just changes everything. It throws curveballs at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing is static,
No.
and it's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, who wants the same world every day? Like that truly would be hell. And you know what would be the other addition to hell? Like that, the other part that would make that totally hellish? Elevator music.
You know what? Actually, one of my favorite, since I got into playing guitar, one of my favorite things to do while waiting on calls is to start playing to the music that I'm listening to on the dial tone. And it's totally changed it for me. Like it went from like something that I dreaded, having to like listen to this like repetitive drone of some like dial tone, just horrible choppy music, into like, man, how can I like improvise over this? And then it becomes fun.
Ah,
It's it's just kind of a cool, just a cool curveball I threw myself.
that's
So I'm just
cool.
gonna try and kind of think of how I want to lay this out. I think the composure of the piece is going to be pretty important
Yes,
because I want it to convey something, not just be a scene, but a scene with a story. And
that's
that's,
right. You understood my challenge to you then, big time.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. So for me, I think when I think of, so what was exactly your prompt again? Like you wanted a forest scene, but you wanted it to convey more
Well,
of what?
a musical style of whimsy to it,
Okay.
because
Okay.
you have a really again you have a very serene style, and I think that's
Hmm.
great, right? That's why, like I said, anger would I think would bore you because for you, who cares about anger, right? But give you a little whimsy, a little bit of the forest kind of winking at you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's more interesting for you for sure, and also more playful. And can you tell that story without,
So for me, what I'm thinking going in here, and maybe this is a mistake describing my process before actually drawing it, because
yeah,
maybe I
yeah,
won't hit the mark. But here, you know what? The stakes have never been lower. Um,
yeah.
when I think about music, there's a powerful memory that I have of going on a road trip to Seattle with my cousin. And on that road trip, we found ourselves at a concert one evening, a classical music concert, where this this fellow went through the works of this one composer that, for the life of me, I can't remember. It was one of the good ones, and really broke down one of their pieces, like throughout the length of it, told the progression of the piece and how it wasn't just, you know, sometimes like music today in our culture, and I'm getting totally distracted now. I'm gonna see if I can draw and talk at the same time. Let's see how this goes. Um, Music in our culture nowadays is more based on like how can people make money off of it, right? You're you're wanting to release singles one by one because then you have a longer time frame for people to get invested in your work. Just like releasing, YouTube videos or whatever,
Yeah,
rather than just being one big album where you're, dumping it all out there. And so because of that, I find that the progression of an album is lost. People are making individual songs where maybe the song itself has a progression, but it doesn't fit within a whole. And for me, I really, really like when music has that kind of grander scheme that it's fitting within. It's like it part of the creative process is that um, you're challenging yourself to like make it cohesive to a larger picture than just 3 or 4 minutes, however long your song is.
No.
And so what was really striking to me was that these composers, these long drawn out piano pieces all have a story, and it's very much so a story. It's not just music. It's they're literally trying to like narrate through music that there are parts where you're meant to feel angry, there's parts that you're meant to feel anxious, there's parts where you're supposed to release the tension of those previous parts, and all of that is fit into this one larger scheme. And so what I'm going to try and do here is create a sense of progression within the piece. That was a very long, drawn out
That's cool, man.
explanation.
I have. So, I'm gonna tell you my favorite thing about drawing Earthworm Jim right now. My favorite thing. His proportions are obnoxious in the best ways possible.
Okay.
Because his suit is like this muscle suit, right? It's giant ass muscle suit. It's actually a good challenge for me because I don't do muscle tone necessarily the best, right? So it's a good challenge for me that way.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so zany. Like, just he's a worm in a suit, right? So I'm like, okay, let's see if I can make this zany dude come to life in a really fun way. And that's what I'm doing. I gave him a classic video game gun he had. It's got this like over the top, like, and he's still over the top, which is what I think what I really like about him is he doesn't do he's silly in like the best way. You know what I mean? And I dig a silly character.
You gotta know what you want, especially when you're getting into art. Like, you gotta. I mean, well, I don't know. I might be working myself into a corner by saying that, because I think really a part of it is just kind of like doing what speaks to you, and you don't even need to know exactly what that thing is. I think the real important part is that you're just enjoying what you're doing and having fun with it. And then what speaks to you, you'll end up seeing recurring in your work, regardless of whether you're like intentionally trying to do it. Yeah, I think it's really. Yeah, go ahead.
Much like every good bit of storytelling.
Yeah.
The artist is ultimately, whether they admit this to themselves or not, is writing or drawing themselves. Yes. So Doris talked about how, like she's doing a spoken word album. Why it took me so long to finish this album I'm uploading? She wanted it to be this cohesive and telling a story thing, and yeah, it's not easy to do with a track listing. It really isn't. You know. So. But yeah, no, I'm thoroughly enjoying the whole process here of what we're doing and seeing. And ooh, come on, microphone, turn up. There we go. That's gonna be awkward to edit later. But that's okay. Technical difficulties live, ladies and gentlemen. Oopsies.
Oh man.
I'm a professional.
You're a professional.
That's right.
It's you know what? Just it's like jazz. If you play the if you play a wrong note in your solo, just play it again. Play it a couple times until people are like, "Oh wow, this person's like
That's
really using some
brilliant.
kind of wild chords that I don't know." Like,
Right. I'm totally not bullshitting you on the spot here. Yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah. It's like wow,
By
my
that,
mistakes, my mistakes
by,
are artwork.
by that, I got a bridge to sell you too. Don't tell anybody I'm selling you this bridge. Maybe. I may or may not have experience with this sort of thing. I'll let you guys decide that one. But Earthworm Jim is an interesting guy.
So, have you ever practiced with warm-ups? I'm curious,
Actually,
because
for the most part, not yet. No, and I'm gonna tell you kind of why at this moment in time. So I did an experiment with my writing. I did a young adult novel about a year back, and I made a conscious decision. I am going to let it suck, and I am going to try to.
interesting.
I'm going to let it suck because um, I wanted this idea of how my art has gotten better so far has been simply the fact that I have not worried about it being good. And also creatively speaking, I've already kind of done a warm up anyway without actually doing a warm up, and that's the following. It's the fact that I'm doing these interviews.
Yeah.
For a good hour, right? And that's as much a part of my creativity as anything else. It's not so much. I find with art, you don't necessarily have to do the same thing. You just have to access the same part of the brain, and that
Yeah, visualization and kind
yeah.
of like, and yeah, absolutely. Because
So
drawing every day, you get into a real rhythm. You start to feel really confident with your ability to just kind of put something from your head onto the paper, and it's a really good feeling. I used to pressure myself a lot to do that, to always be pursuing um, artwork every day, just like even if it's I'm not feeling it, just for that reason. And I began to realize that it's not as much. You don't really need to actually do the physical act of drawing to stimulate that part of you.
no,
Like, and this shows up a lot in sports.
yeah,
Is visualization, and it's not really talked about in other concepts as much because sports are marketable in a very different way. But I found that, like, if I was on a trip or something and I would get frustrated, like, "Ah, I can't be working on this piece that I want to be working on," even if I, like, as I was going to bed, if I just imagined the way it would look, imagined the process that I would take to get to that point,
mm-hmm.
it would have a profound impact on how I would approach that when I actually like got to paper. Is it felt like the work was already done.
In some ways it is like what you have to do the physical to get the muscle memory of it down. Once you have that down, would you like to see my Earthworm Jim?
Sir? Yeah. Hi.
Hey, hi. Earthworm Jim.
Heck yeah, man.
How'd I do?
Look at that. Look at that flying figure.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's my first attempt at Earthworm Jim. So
Yeah. Yet another unrealistic body standard for men.
that's right. That's why I picked him. He's just obnoxious.
Isn't it great though?
Yeah.
I love it.
I think my favorite part about the video game is when you lost the suit and you were just the worm. You couldn't do anything. You just bounced like, what the hell?
Oh, I think that's what I played. It's the one where you're a bunch of worms and you're like taking turns trying to like bomb each other.
Oh yeah, that's just worms. That's a classic.
That's
classic.
what I'm familiar with. Yeah.
That's classic. I'm not even gonna go there. Right? I'm just like, my sister kicked my ass so much in that game. Just kicked my ass. Evil. But no, Earthworm Jim is a as you can see, an over the top character. The gameplay was just like, oh my gosh, like so silly. My favorite villain was the cat. That's like literally you're fighting this cat who had stolen your suit, and you have to get it back from the cat and not die. It's like so hard. Why did you do this to me?
Man.
But it's a classically weird game, and I really dug it.
What system was that for?
Super Nintendo.
Okay. That one of I'm gonna show my insolence here. Is that the one with the square gray controller with the red buttons? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not the red buttons. Just they were purple buttons.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
They were purple and gray, and it was a great. It's still my favorite system of all time. Just there's so many good games from that era. Just so many. No, it's not what I'm gonna do. I'll just do his face, I think, for the next one, because I dig his face. Earthworm Jim is silly to the goodness. He's an earthworm in a bodysuit built for a man, and when he's in the suit, he has superpowers. Superpowers.
Where does the suit come from? What's the story behind Earthworm Jim?
Yeah.
Joshua, tell me all about Earthworm Jim.
So, I'm not entirely sure. I think the suit was meant for some. It's been a long time since I've played the game, but I think the suit was meant for somebody else, and he was just an earthworm.
Oh,
he kind of landed right by the suit, and he put it on, and suddenly he was Earthworm Jim.
Wild.
Yeah.
Hero's journey.
That's right. Totally. and it was just like somebody came up with that concept, and it was like, what do you think? It's like, this is like the silliest thing ever.
It's pretty incredible, honestly, how video games are like, if you just didn't know of a video game, and that might be a really interesting test, is to like create a pitch for a video game that doesn't exist and mix it in with video games that do exist, and then like just show those pitches to someone who has no idea what video games are or anything, and see if like they can guess which ones are real or not. This earthworm finds a spacesuit that makes them Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, well, finds a spacesuit and becomes a superhero.
Yeah,
that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. No, it's not. There's an army of worms trying to destroy your shit. That's not realistic. I can no way that's a video game. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, it's like
there's this plumber who jumps on mushrooms. Isn't that wild? Someone okayed that. Someone was like, "Yeah, this is a sweet idea."
Then there's this one video game about this brother team. One brother's completely evil and beats up his brother's girlfriend, and the other brother goes on this one-man crusade to beat his brother's gang and rescue his girlfriend from his brother.
I don't even know which game that is.
Double Dragon.
Double Dragon? Yeah.
It's old. It's old. Don't worry. I'm showing my age.
I might be missing off.
I'm showing my age. I'm good with it. I'm an old ass fart. It's okay.
I my parents were pretty, they didn't really want me to get into the video game thing. I grew up on property. They wanted me to be outside doing wholesome things, and I really respect that. Like I really value that looking back. But at the time, I did not. At the time, I was like, why can't I have this thing that is bringing all of my friends joy? um,
There's value in discipline. That's a weird.
Absolutely,
There's
absolutely.
there's value in it. It's a weird balance though, because on the one hand, okay, like for me, I'm not sure I want my kid to be around television because I look at what television is today, and it's like I think it makes you dumber. I'm pretty sure it makes you dumber, right? On the other hand, it's like, oh my gosh, did you see this show last night? It was freaking incredible.
I feel like it's almost unavoidable.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, some of it is. Some
And
of
I
it
mean,
is.
the damage that you might do by like withholding them from like the
Yeah.
normal, right, is
Exactly.
could almost be worse than just the thing itself, right?
So you see my
It's such
dilemma,
a it's
right?
such a yeah, yeah.
You see the dilemma, right? It's not that I because I actually, although I do like some shows, by and large I hate television. I don't think it's honestly like I'm not sure it's a healthy thing. On the other hand, it's normal. So what do I do? Oh, you can't do that. How dare you? How dare you want to do a normal thing like everybody else? Curse you for that. I think I made my Earthworm Jim face a beak. Oops.
Oh,
I'm,
well, you know what?
I'm a professional.
Tools,
I'm,
erasers exist for a reason.
yeah, but I'm just gonna go with the beak. What if Earthworm Jim had a beak? What if he was
What if? Well, don't earthworms kind of like have something like a beak? I'm not entirely sure. No, no. I'm just speaking nonsense. I'm just trying to talk way too hard.
But you're having fun, I can tell.
You know what? I really am. I really appreciated the prompt because I usually don't get a lot of input on my artwork. It's a very personal thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It just happens, and and I just go with whatever I'm really identifying with at a given point.
And that's totally
So and it's really good, but it's nice to shake it up and like that's what I kind of miss about being in art in school is that like some of the pressure is taken off of like trying to think of what to do, and that some of the challenge is gone when you're out of there because you're like, they're going to be asking you just to do stuff all the time that you're not comfortable with, that you have no practice with.
and you're like, how dare you? Don't you know who I am? I'm good at shit. How dare you?
How dare you insult my craft?
I know what I'm doing. My piece of paper says so.
Yes.
Right? Piece of paper? Stop laughing. I take myself very seriously, you can tell, right?
You know what? It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I take myself too seriously sometimes.
Oh,
I'm not really a serious person, but I do kind of slip into that serious mindset, and then I just have to like snap myself out of it every now and then and just remember a different side of myself.
Yeah. Which is totally fine. Okay.
So
I mostly caught his smile. It doesn't look like a beak to me anymore. I can kind of see where I was almost brilliant. Almost brilliant. I almost know what I'm doing, my friend. Almost. Well, maybe I don't, but it's okay. I'm having fun, which is really all that matters.
it sure is.
Yes. But
So I don't know.
going back to like what we were talking about earlier about not worrying about good. That's what actually got me into drawing again. I think one of the reasons why I've been I have to take some steps to get better. There's no doubt about it. But I've been
Mm.
kind of reluctant to do them because this I haven't worried about being good for the whole time, and I think it has carried me very far. Not
Yeah.
worrying, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I want to get better. That means I'm going to have to worry about being good, at least a little bit, right?
And you're kind of worried that that pressure is gonna kind of take away the fun of it.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. I'd be less than lying to you if I said otherwise.
Well, I don't know.
But I
So
think
my experience with getting into drawing, I mean, like I used to do like comics, um, just extremely silly, like wacky drawings with one of my close friends in school, and he and I just had so much fun with this. Like we just we man, yeah, if you had been there, I'm sure you would have been having a good time. But it yeah, it was like no pressure. It was just like it was just part of our sense of humor. It was just like drawing these horrible creatures and comics, and then eventually I I started as like, okay, I wanna take this more seriously. This is what I wanna do going forward. I wanna learn a little bit more about how I can kind of get to a place that I want to be. And so I started, instead of drawing these really silly things, I shifted over to um, drawing anatomy in class. I was trying to draw my fellow students around me. I was like trying to draw my hands. I was trying to like capture poses and like perspectives and all of this like really heavy stuff, right? It was just life drawing. And for me, I got away with it because like I was pretty good at paying attention while I was doing all of that. But um, certainly some of my teachers were less than happy with me. But still, still, I persevered. I made it through. I managed to turn all of my classes into art classes. And the books that I have left over from school are proof of that. They're just coated with poses of hands and uh, and horrible disturbing comics and just I don't know. I say it that way. They're just really silly.
Yeah, sure.
Here, I wonder is there anything on this page?
So I was writing my novel in high school instead of actually doing schoolwork for a lot of it.
Kindred spirits, I see.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's this comic I read not too long ago when I was working, and it's like, hey, I'm gonna worry about like I'm gonna build a rocket ship and go sledding. And one guy's like, well, no, you gotta worry about life and this and this, and you just start thinking about all the stuff in life, and then eventually you end up joining the guy going sledding. Fuck that, because if we're all a little honest with ourselves, and we're gonna be very honest, like reality is an incredibly silly thing. I've learned very much that reality is just silly, and needs to sometimes, actually, in fact, always be taken that silly at all times. Because honest to God, who wants a serious thing all the time? And
Yeah, it's just too much. I mean,
and it occurred to me too. This is the part that I think in high school that half this crap I'm never going to see again once I leave high school. In fact, more
yeah,
than half this crap I'm never going to see again once I get to high school. And then I came to a wonderful realization about high school, and that was this: high school is not really about learning subject matter. It's about making connections, meaningful connections that will hopefully change your life for the better.
Mm.
All right. College is not that much different, really, other than the fact that you're paying for that privilege and experience, right? And so you better at the very least in college, at least pass, so you never have to pay for it more than once. That was my mistake in college because I was still flake all the way through that point. And I had to learn the hard way that you got to get your shit done sometimes too, right? But in high school, the glorious lesson I learned there was, most of this shit doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And in college,
Yeah.
you realize, yeah, most of this shit don't matter, but you're here, you're paying for it, but it does when you pay for it. Which, that's a fair lesson too. Yeah.
Yeah. I I looking back, high school, school in general, I try to think of like the what did I learn there academics wise, not like life experience wise or like friendship wise or like all that stuff that you aren't really told that school is like the what the purpose of school is for. Um, how often do I use it? Like I went through um like one of the more advanced courses of math instead of taking like the applied maths where you learn how to like calculate your taxes and like do workplace stuff that like you're actually going to use more often. I did like the math for fun math course because I thought, I don't know, maybe I'll need to use this. Maybe I'll need to have this course for the school that I want to go to. And looking back, it's like
Nope.
it was entirely just a waste of time in terms of like, do I ever use it? Do I ever use trigonometry in my everyday life? No. I don't think I've done any trigonometry since I graduated, and I couldn't if I tried.
Not this point is, could I do trigonometry? No. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna find a guy in high school that's taking that right now. Somebody can do it.
Exactly.
You-
Exactly. They're the smart. They're probably literally the most educated like current because while they're in it, while they're taking those classes, they're in it. They actually have to remember it because they're being marked on it. No one else is going to remember that after they get out, right? Unless they're like a professor who needs to teach it, or someone who does it just for fun, for
or
for
they're one of
work.
the few people that actually does need it. There are a
Yeah,
few jobs that do require that stuff.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And those are definitely the people who you should go for if you need trigonometry done. But you get the joke of what I'm saying, right?
Although
Like,
on a personal note, they really feel insulted when you approach them for math problems. Hey, I need you to solve this equation. Sure, why? I don't know what I'm doing. And why are you bugging me with this? I don't care that you don't know what you're doing. You should have learned back in high school. I didn't, man. I was too busy, getting drunk like everybody else. Right. No, but it's definitely it's a weird like the biggest thing so the kids coming up today are smarter than we were for sure in terms of knowledge. They are way smarter than we are. I am not sure they have the critical thinking we did. Could be wrong. I could just be an old fucker at this point and not know it. Again, I'm hillbillying up as I get older. I'm well aware of this. Back in my day, this is how it was done. And honest to God, that doesn't necessarily mean it should be done this way because back in our day, we were pretty fucking crazy. And, actually, that's the one thing that's in common. Like, you know what? We all look back to back in my day, and if we're really honest with ourselves, we were all out of our goddamn minds. We were all, being very honest. Like, did we know what we were doing? No. why did we think we knew what we were doing? Because we were trying to talk ourselves into something. Did it work? In hindsight, no, it never does. So that's what I've learned. Like back in my day, I will be very, very careful when I say that because it actually better be important or I'm just being old and dumb. Like,
It's hard. It's
yeah,
hard not to judge
yeah,
just anybody for any reason.
yeah.
But
I know.
I really find it interesting looking and seeing how the prevalence of technology and the kind of internet culture has like played a role in like the youth. I feel bad saying that, as if I'm not like a young adult myself. But like the people who are younger than me, the people who are like going through high school right now, just how different they dress, how different their humor is, how different their um like the just it just feels very different because it is more like, and I almost feel like when I was going through um high school, middle school, like when Facebook came out, everyone had Facebook. Like everyone had Facebook. It was just the thing. Like you know them, you know people in real life at school, and then you know them online through what they post, and that was just the way things were, and you just added everyone that you had ever seen once.
Yep.
um, and and now listening to the and looking back at that, like that felt really unhealthy. But I don't know if we knew the consequences of what we were doing or what like that technology, what having all of that information access at all times like was affecting the way like we were growing up. Um, and now I think the general culture is like people really don't like social media. Like a lot of people in I mean, some people are totally over the moon for it, but it feels like there's definitely now a counterculture that's kind of leaning the opposite way, where it's like, no, it's so much more aware in the popular culture that like it's not healthy for you,
Well,
and
so
or it can be unhealthy for you.
so here's
Uh,
the thing. Here's the thing about social media. It creates a wonderful shield. I can call you all kinds of mean names from the comfort of my home, and really, your only real option to do that to deal with me is just turn me off. You can do that. I'm not saying that that power ever it escapes you, but if we're being honest here, it's really in the grand scheme of things not a big consequence. Oh no, you're not listening to my post anymore. Okay,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right. I mean, back in my day, if I called someone an asshole, I got punched in the face,
exactly.
right? So, and in real life, that still happens. It's like, hey, if I call this guy an asshole, he's gonna feed me my lunch. Damn right he is, right? Because that's the right thing to do. You should treat people with respect. Well, now you can hide online and not never learn respect or how to talk to women or other things like
How to
that.
make friends, how to
Yeah,
maintain relationships,
yeah.
how to maintain connections. It's just, yeah, it's
So,
pretty wild.
and then on top of that, the other part of it about it too is so we media tends to divide by its very nature. It's like we mentioned mask, anti-mask earlier, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, there's nuance to it, right? I work in an environment where my mask by the end of the day turns black. Do I? Doesn't matter what kind of mask I wear. Do I keep the mask on and breathe whatever the fuck it is the mask has caught? Right? I'm not sure that's healthy. On the
Yeah.
flip side, somebody going out there right now and kind of just doing a, it's just wanting to wear a mask for personal safety and sanity, right? There's lots of environments where maybe that's actually a rational way of looking at it, right? So I personally hate masks. To be perfectly honest, I hate them. But that's because of my own experience working with them. Not so much whether it is for or against the culture. Now, if I
Right.
go and say that out loud too loud, oh, you're an anti-masker. That's not necessarily true. I just don't really like in the environment I'm having to use it in. That's nuance, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you say, and again, going back to me earlier, you still might disagree with me. That's cool. You can disagree with me, right? But but again, I'm not coming at this like, oh, you shouldn't wear a mask ever. I just don't like the mask in my current environment because I'm not
Right.
sure it actually is the healthy course of action, just based on what the masks are catching, right? That's my opinion. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's my opinion, right? So, um, that's kind of the thing. Like, that's a nuanced argument, right? It's no longer it's no longer black. Oh, you're this or you're this, or more political terms. You're progressive or you're conservative. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're this. Like, no, it doesn't
Hmm.
matter. It really doesn't matter what the thought is. Whatever the thought is, there's a nuance to it that means there's a compromise. There's a give and there's a take. If you make things very binary, well, you're either this or this, there's no compromise and there's no listening. And that's when social media in particular becomes incredibly toxic.
It's really become hard. Like, I have never really been a huge fan of using social media. Like, I've always found it really difficult. But it just I'm much more of like a personal in person kind of like that's how I want to relate with
Right.
people. But like, it's sometimes you just are on a social media page and you stumble across some kind of like purposefully um, controversial kind of trying to stir up an argument, stir up um, uh, some kind of a response from people. I'm just gonna confirm. Are we still good?
Oh no,
You still with me?
I got booted out for a second there.
Okay. I
So
just
repeat that so I know what I'm talking about here to respond to you.
yeah, no, like sometimes if you're like you'll find yourself browsing around or even if you don't aren't looking like you're not looking for it, but you'll just stumble across some kind of media article or someone's post on social media that is just like so controversial or like against what you personally believe that you can't help but just like read into it a little bit or a
Mm-hmm.
lot, depending on what your self-control is like.
Yeah,
And like feel a response, feel um, like engaged, and maybe
sure.
like what would the word be? Triggered by it, and
Oh yeah,
and
that
I think that like that can be really useful because I think bringing up controversial opinions is valuable for like challenging why it is that we're believing what we believe. Like if people can't defend their truth, then you know how solid is it? But at the same time, it can be incredibly toxic. Like people are not able. I really don't think that uh, anything other than face to face is 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 a really good place to hold any kind of like structured debate where you actually are in a position to learn something a little bit. Because it's just so easy when you're not actually in the room with someone, hearing the nuance of their voice and their stature, and actually like getting a sense of where they're coming from, that that you can actually really take anything from what they're saying. And sometimes it's just like some people just are there to just troll,
Oh, sure.
like just purely just to like make someone's day worse. And I think that's really just such a crummy thing.
I agree with you. How do I answer this? So there's two parts to that. One, I do think it is possible to have a debate on social media. I actually do think it is possible. But it is so easy to take for granted that you're not there. That I do concede no problem. So I try to work.
Well,
So what I try to do, this is what I try to do in social media. I try to actually pretend I'm there, 100% there,
oh, that's a good point.
no matter what. Because honestly, anyway, I'm a professional artist and shit now. People apparently care about what I have to say, and so I gotta be smart and stuff, and I'm authentically me, and because I'm authentically me, people trust me. So I better be authentically me the whole way. None of it doesn't mean I'm perfect. I don't need to be perfect on here, but I have to be authentic, and I have to listen, and I do that. And that is the whole of my secret to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I listen.
Mm.
That is it. It is not. There is nothing else to it. There is truly nothing else to it. It's an openness and willingness to listen will break any door down eventually. Because once a person realizes that they can be themselves around you, no matter what, they will. And that is when doors open. But it's the temptation of social media is you don't have to engage like that ever.
And
Social
it's hard
media,
to feel listened to either.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
right? Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying this is easy, right? Notice like a few times I've shut up when you kept going because like, oops, he's still got stuff to say. Not bad, right? But but
It's yeah.
but that's the thing. Right? It doesn't have. It's not a perfect science, but that's where debate is possible. Is can you be open minded enough to listen?
And it's also it's interesting because it's so new. It's all so new, and
Mm-hmm.
it's changing so fast
Yep.
that like how do you even approach trying to gauge whether something is like healthy in the long term? Like what is good for us? Is social media good for us? Because we don't know. It hasn't, well, like, I mean, you can look at and gauge for yourself, but like as a species, like, is its introduction a good thing or a bad thing? There's so many different angles to it it's
I
just incredible.
I think it's like anything else. It can be good or it can be bad. It
Yeah,
all
it's
comes down to how it's used.
yeah.
I am an optimist. I say, here's the cool thing. I would not have met you. I probably would have met you eventually because I do go to Kelowna enough. But I would not have met you the way I have if it wasn't for this magical thing called Facebook.
Yeah.
And my life is better for it.
Oh.
I made you laugh. All right. But here's the thing, right? But here's the thing about it. Is it because of my approach and your approach? right? That made that possible for us to be friends in this very strange, very wonderful world. If the answer is yes, then what we should be teaching people with this wonderful technology we have isn't so much that we can use it or not use it. Rather, we need to teach people that etiquette matters maybe even more so, right? Even more
Yeah.
so at this time, not less,
Yeah.
because we are on social media, because we can hurt each other a lot easier on this thing because we're not physically there. I think I
Yeah.
think I think social media, for it to be truly be healthy, we have to be more honest with each other. That's the way to do it. It's actually honesty, the brutal honesty in some cases, that will make it work. But there has to be the brutality has to be is I gotta be in a position where you and I can be okay with talking about anything and everything, and not be in a position where it's like, oh, you're a terrible person for thinking this way.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm just thinking this. This is why I'm thinking this way.
Yeah.
If it's so wrong, change my mind. Don't call me a name to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And as far as the internet trolling goes, I mean that'll go down the toilet too, because if people are treating each other decently on here, well, they're going to stand out even more. And then there is such a thing as the ban hammer. Oh, you're trolling me. Okay. Trollolol, banned, censored, right?
Yeah. The
Right,
whole.
right. You're just being a dick for the sake of being a dick, right? So, yeah, I can do without that. Life does that to me enough. I don't need you to add to that pain. So, I don't know. That's my thinking about it. I think it's toxic only because it's so easy to turn people into like an A B camp. Hey, you think this way, therefore you're this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you're this way.
It's the polarizing element of it
Yeah,
that
yeah,
can really do the damage, and I think it's especially become more prevalent. Like I mean, we won't delve into it right now, but like with the politics that's been going on, and just everywhere really, but predominantly in the States, and then now with the pandemic as well. I mean, regardless of your statement on any of those different events and what happened within the last few years, like people are gonna have opinions, and
sure.
the presence of social media does not necessarily enhance the clear and concise conversations that should be happening to understand different people's opinions. Rather, it's turning those camps into A and B, right?
Do
I
you know
am
what's
this, you are that. This is what is right. That's what is wrong. It's
do you know what's really interesting to me about social media, in terms of politics in particular?
mm,
It's a blown opportunity, and I think on the
okay.
politicians and the things especially. Here's the thing, okay? I can put porn on your computer, but here's the bottom line. That's probably the worst thing I can do to a politician on this thing. There is a unique opportunity. Like again, I met you online. We're just talking and chilling. And by the way, that is a fantastic forest and tree thing you got going there. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Um, we're just talking. We're drawing. We're just shooting the shit here, right? You could do this with a politician, and in fact,
Yeah.
maybe you should. Could you imagine? Do you think Joe Biden would have the policies he has if he was having regular conversations with people like us? I know that sounds incredibly dumb, but I mean, think about it. It wouldn't be hard, right?
Yeah.
You set up a channel, and everybody's got access to the leadership.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? I mean, yeah.
Just making it personal like this, making it a one-on-one with
Yeah.
just someone.
Could you? Do you think the politicians, when they enact some of the policies they do? Okay, in Ontario right now, I can't buy underwear. I want you to think about that for a second. Okay. I want you to think about that for a second. Okay. Do you really
Okay.
think Doug Ford, and if Doug Ford and I had a regular conversation saying, "Yo, Doug, I need underwear. Why the fuck are you doing this?" And Doug Ford's going to answer me, "Well, I got drunk with my friends last night. I thought it was a good idea. Are you saying it's not a good idea?" No, Doug, I don't think it's a good idea. Okay, but I got this problem. People are getting together, and I don't know how to fix it in Toronto. Have you thought about this, Doug? Well, no, I haven't. And I'm making Doug Ford sound incredibly drunk right now, ladies and gentlemen. That's just I can't help it. I've watched him in action for over a year. I'm hoping his alcohol is the drug of his choice, and we'll just leave it at that. And right, but I say that to say that. Do you think Justin Trudeau would have the policies he has if he had to deal with people on a regular basis? And the thing is, the platforms are there now to do this, and they're
Well,
not being used that way. Instead, you and I can get into fights over who's the best political leader. And here's the sad thing: we don't know them.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
being very honest. I mean, that's the truly sad thing. We don't know them. They don't know who we are. They don't care because they don't know us.
well, I mean, I don't know if that's entirely true. I don't know if like they 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 are human beings. They do on some
Sure.
level know, but it's just I think a part of the structure of how people get into power that they have to be in a certain position where they're not able to relate to everybody and
No.
they're in such a disconnect. It's like fame. It's like
Mhm.
fame. If you wanted, I want Miley Cyrus to sit down and just have a conversation with a fan for hours, just one fan, just to that she doesn't even know, but to really sit down and get to know that fan and just have a meaningful conversation with them. Like if that was public, how cool would that be if you like how much would that mean to like the fan that that person is willing to give that time to actually invest and like be
Mhm.
interested in someone that they just have like is just in a totally different spot than they are.
Right.
um they're still human, they share all the same problems
Sure.
and in different ways, but you get what I'm saying that um and I'm going to preface this whole thing by saying like I'm just speaking, I'm trying very hard to like maintain
No, no,
maintain
no,
a thought,
no. No.
but
I hear what you're saying. But finish your thought so I can actually. I'll give you some things to ponder.
okay, let's see what my thought was actually. It's hard, man. I don't know how you do it. I feel like I did better last time. I feel like I've gotten
No,
worse.
no, we've had a pretty good back and forth the whole time. I think I got some more pictures to show you too, so I'll let you finish what you're doing a little bit, and then I'll
Okay,
show you pictures.
sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, I did an angry worms thing just because you made me think about it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll let you. I'll let
I'm
you.
good to I'm gonna sit this down for a second here. I need
Yeah.
to stretch.
All right, you can go put the camera back on you, and we can just go back to a formal interview for the rest of our time. We can show each other's art off at the end here. I think we've gone for quite a while, and I've definitely enjoyed it. But I mean, we don't want to go for too much longer. I don't think.
That's true. That's true.
That's amazing, though, man. Like, you're really good at that.
Thank you. I'm gonna set myself down here.
Mhm. So I think I should make a correction to myself. I'll correct this here. It's not that they necessarily don't care, but you're gonna naturally serve the interests of the people around you that you know best,
Yeah. And if you're
right?
surrounded by, not an accurate representation of what people are.
You're gonna serve those interests because
Yeah.
that's what you're gonna do, right? So, like, now again, so I look at it like this: Doug Ford doesn't know my name. Justin Trudeau doesn't know my name. Any of the other premiers in the country do not know my name. They are not going to be as interested in what my problems are versus the interests they regularly deal with on a day in and day out basis. Now, in all fairness, that should be the case because it's just me. So I'm not like, my head's not that big yet, or my problems are that important. But, but, yes. Thank you, Doris. I'm going to show you some stuff here in just a second, and we're going to wrap up because Josh is an amazing dude. But the thing is, you have a chance to close the gap today a little bit, right? Because, okay, there's 300 million Americans. There's no way in hell Joe Biden's going to be able to talk to 300 million people, but he could talk to 1,000 different people, different to get a sense of who he's serving.
Yeah.
We could do the same thing up here. The technology's there, right? And how can they have a conversation for hours? I don't know you that well, dude. And look how long we've been talking. Okay. Now, I'm good at this chatting shit. I mean, I'm very good at it. But even so, there are other people that are as good or better than me. And I say that in all humility. It's the truth. You just meet the right people at the right place at the right time. And you're just open to listen. And suddenly priorities change. You're not just serving one group of interests anymore. You're serving multiple.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able, no matter what, no politician can serve everybody's interests at the same time. It's impossible. In fact, this is the only last thing I'm going to say about COVID about this whole time. If politicians had been consistent about the interests they were serving, we'd all be better off right now. The fact that they weren't is the reason why a lot of the problems exist in Canada at the moment. I can't buy underwear right now. You've had your own, BC's had its own share of weird too, right? And vice versa everywhere else. So that's why there's no consistency. There has to be some consistency somewhere. But at the same token, understanding the interests of the people you are serving is such a fundamental thing that if you lock yourself up into a bubble, right, you have pretty much destroyed what you were trying to do, which is how can you serve people you do not understand?
Yeah, because it's hard. Like how do you, I don't know. It's hard for you and me. It's hard for them too.
Oh, sure. No, I don't want this to sound like a full condemnation. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I am saying is we have this ability now. Like, look, I'm in Windsor, Ontario. You are in British Columbia. We have had a 2-hour conversation about nothing. It's been glorious. Right?
Yeah.
It has been glorious.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a politician has 2 hours to have this kind of conversation, but maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just imagine, again, empathy.
And it doesn't even need to be about a specific, pressing issue. It's just, where are they at?
Yeah.
Where are they at? What is affecting them as a person? What is important in their lives right now?
Yeah. understand if you understand that, like the gap closes no matter where you're at. If I understand
Exactly.
you, if I understand you, I can make more profound differences. And the fact that this technology exists today, that anyone can talk to anybody,
Hmm.
and we've had,
Anywhere.
and yet, no, I mean, seriously, think about that. That's incredible. We should be reaching out to each other more to understand each other more because it's right there.
Yeah.
Literally, we take this for granted.
Yeah.
Going back full circle, and then we're going to show off our wonderful stuff.
Okay.
It took me a minute to be kind to people. It's not hard to reach out. Just you have to be willing to go out and do it. But the thing is, we no longer have the excuse anymore that we can't do it. We can.
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
and that's I think something um that is something I think going forward we really can think about. Like I shouldn't be arguing with you over your politics. Honestly, I shouldn't really care. Doesn't matter. You want to be an NDP person, you be an NDP person. You want to be a conservative, you be a conservative. You want to be I don't know why you'd be a Bloc Quebec Club. If you want to be a Bloc Quebec Club person, you go nuts. I really, really don't care. That doesn't matter. Here's what matters. How are you? What are your problems?
Yeah.
What's going on? What's being solved? What's not being solved? Why or why not? We'll
Hmm.
never have a perfect answer. This is
Hmm.
true. But the fact that we have this ability to talk to each other about these issues, could you imagine the social media tomorrow? We didn't give a rat's ass about the political leanings or whatever some idiot politician says about God only knows. Who cares?
Hmm.
What if we were actually talking about? Hey, listen, my kid needs clean water. Hey, listen, I need to figure out how I'm going to pay the rent next month. Hey, listen,
Hmm.
and this is a real problem in Canada. We have a huge housing crisis everywhere right now. The
Hmm.
cost of a home is ridiculous in Canada, and it shouldn't be as expensive as it is. And yet here we are. Like, and you can see there's going to be some huge problems down the road. We could talk to each other now and prevent some of the disasters that are going to come later.
Hmm.
But we're so busy fighting each other over shit, really.
Yeah.
We're never going to see those problems until they bite us in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my those are my man from the mountaintop coming down because I'm a clueless whatever the hell I am, and but I've amused you to no end. I can tell.
It's been a riot. I love it.
Yeah,
I like the amount of social interaction that I get nowadays is very slim. So it's just been nice to just to talk, just to
yeah.
just to be in that space.
So original obnoxious Earthworm Jim. Hooray! That was the original one. You saw that earlier. Just his face. It took me a while to figure it out, but the size of his eyes was the key to the whole thing.
Yeah, he's got big old eyes, doesn't he?
That doesn't he? Doesn't he? All right. And lastly, because you mentioned it, worms. They're coming. They're coming. So I love doing them, Doris. I've been doing them for years. Is just chats. The only difference is if I had my way, I'd have a video camera. We'd be either at a cafe or a bar having a beer and doing the same thing, just in person.
Yeah.
And, and then he'd be laughing at more of my terrible jokes because I would be even more obnoxious than I already am.
The camera is taming you.
That's right. It actually kind of is. I'm being nice.
So here's my situation here.
So, so I like what you did. I see what you did there. You made your trees a little bit more wavy.
Yeah, I tried to create a cohesiveness in the direction. Just, there's a flow to the way it's all kind of the horizon line is coming down. I don't know.
Yeah,
I tried to it doesn't have to be as heavy-handed as trees that look like they're dancing,
yeah.
but I don't know,
It was
maybe you
fun.
look at it and you get some sense of that. That's what I'm hoping.
So did you have fun with it?
I certainly had fun with it. I enjoy having a goal to aim for with my art, as well as just drawing whatever.
So, two things we're gonna do here. First, Doris. Hey, it's really cool that you got your painting done. I'm glad you channeled us. As you can tell, I still have a long way to go. Josh is amazing, right?
Oh, thank you.
Right. But I definitely enjoy like learning and getting better bit by bit by bit because that's the journey for me. So
That's all, and it's such a good mindset to have. I
yeah,
think I was complimenting you on that last time.
yeah.
It's just like that is just having that is going to just take you so far.
So I handed my very rough draft to my editor, and he was like, "Oh my god, this isn't. It's not. It's a, listen." He was trying to be nice. And don't be nice. Crush my ego. I don't care. I want to
My
get better.
phone's gonna shut off.
Oh no! Oh no! He's trying to save us. He's trying to save it.
Emergency plug in my phone. We're good.
Did it work? Yay!
You're just on speakerphone now.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. But for everybody watching and listening to this has been wild. Um, that all said, we should probably talk about one last thing before we go, and that is your guitars.
Sure. No,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So you said this is full time now?
Yeah. So I at the start of COVID, I've been apprenticing for a number of years and had gone to some school for guitar building as well. And finally, COVID was the kick in the butt that I needed. It gave me the time and the opportunity to focus my energy on a specific place. I've been putting the energy into it to like get my own shop space and get it all started up. But yeah, and so I got to build my own shop space out of a single car garage, and and so yeah, for the last going on probably 5 or 6 months now, it's been my full time thing, focusing on being in the shop every day or as many days as I can, just building, and it's been really really rewarding. Like, I've had 2 commissions so far, and like hopefully more coming up soon. And, like even if I don't have more commissions, I know what I need to work on. Like building up a line of guitars, and really hoping that things will start opening up and we can start going to shows again, like or for the first time, going to road shows and States and in Canada, and hopefully eventually abroad with my instruments. And yeah, it's really exciting. Um,
So I got good news on that front. My sister is working on an airline again. She got laid off when the whole thing started. Now she's back. Like she goes
right.
back. Like I said, the good news is no matter what's being said or done right now, the world is slowly coming back. And by the end of the summer, I think one way or the other, I'm not saying we're going to be all the way back. We certainly are going to have some problems for the rest of the year for sure.
Yeah.
But we're going to be past, I think, the point of consistent lockdowns. I think we're going to be past all that. I hope so. I sometimes worry about Canada being the last country in the loop. Like I said, I just keep looking at the underwear thing and I'm thinking,
Oh man.
I really need socks right now. Really, really.
Oh man.
Yeah. You have no idea how tempting I've been to just get myself permanently banned from a Dollarama. Show up with $20. put the $20 on their table, grab, and just go, and not
Just
giving a
around.
shit. It's funny, but so true, right? And the thing is, here's the part that I think that's great. No one blames me. Like no,
Yeah, yeah,
no one blames me. It's like, what the hell is this? Like, I don't know. I really, really, really don't. That all said, so we're not out, but you're gonna see it. I think for you, and this is what I hope this for you for the rest of the year, is at some point this year you get the opportunity to go to a show. You go to your show, and you see your work, you like the stuff you've crafted being used by some seasoned like musicians. And next thing you know, you're gonna have some big ass clients from some major well known people going, "Oh my gosh, you're amazing."
yeah,
And that will come with it a little bit of the obnoxious. We talked about the last time you were here about the craziest guitars you've ever had to make, and they will come. But at least the glorious part about that is you'll be able to charge wickedly more money because it'll be like, okay, I'll do it, but this is what you're going to pay for. That's
yeah.
ridiculous. Uh huh. So are you. So I'm willing. I'm willing to do it if you put up that kind of money. If you put up that kind of money, I won't care. I will just be like, okay, I don't know how you'll play it, but it will be there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm hoping that, and I've actually already started kind of running into this, which is just being decisive in the work that I take on
Mm-hmm.
and being able to have the confidence to say no, that this isn't what I want to be doing. And I've already done it a few times. Like someone comes to me with a project that's just like, this is not in my wheelhouse. I wouldn't, if you paid me like 10 times what I should get for this, is my time worth more than that? And sometimes it's like, no, I need the money. Sometimes it's like, no, I have a vision of where I need to be, and this isn't going to get me there. And it's been really liberating. Like it's actually been feeling really good. And honestly, um, our chat last time where you gave me that advice was like, it still rings true, and I still like think of it regularly. That's just that, like, what does this work cost me in more than just a monetary value? What does it cost me emotionally? How long am I going to take to recover from doing work that I hate, even if it's kind of work that I should be doing? And it's just really, yeah, that insight's been really powerful for me, and I really appreciated it. Um, and it's really helped me stay focused on like what it is that I really want to be doing, and hopefully having that drive for like a specific thing. If you can see it in a consistent theme in my artwork, hopefully that shows in the guitars as well, that people will come to me for that, and I won't have too many people like,
They'll
can
go be
you
less
build me
or
this
less.
unicorn shaped guitar, please?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's not what I do.
I don't do that. When you see a check with so many zeros in front of the decimals, you know what? I'll do it just this once. Just
Maybe just once.
yeah.
Maybe I want a house one day. Maybe
It's like
I couldn't get off without showing
yeah.
off, just because why not? But yeah, it's
So
been
basically, what you're saying, good sir, is the next time you come on the show, I should be taking freelance advice from
oh,
you.
could be.
I might make you blush again. That would be hilarious because honest to God, like the first year for me, the hardest part about the first year was figuring out what I was supposed to do.
Mm.
Little did I know that I was already doing it.
Yeah,
That's one of those life lessons you will always learn. Life is very often the thing you should be doing, you're already doing it. The challenge sometimes is just realizing what that is.
yeah. What am I doing?
Yeah, I figured it out. For me, my skills are interviewing people. I'm really good at it, and that's my biggest strength. Now I can do other things too, but that's what I do. And so everything I do is based around that. Um, so now I'm slowly getting better opportunities for myself too. And I got to interview an opera singer this week that I was like,
Cool.
like she's a jazz musician that was an opera singer, that was a ballerina. She has performed in front of presidents and royalty. She's got like her story. It was so wild that I was like, what am I doing talking to her? And then I realized this is where I was always going. If I was going to go down this path, this is where I'm going to end up. I'm going to keep talking to people like this. I want to introduce her, actually. My friend that launched the song tonight, I want to introduce her to her because I think they would be good for, she would be good for my friend that just launched the song. Because they're stylistically very different performers. There are a lot of similarities between them. And I'm like, interesting. But that's me being a little excellent. Like, hey, this will make you better. I think. Or you might hate, or you might hate me and beat me. I got introduced to On, by the way, when it's all said and done. But it sounds like you're on your way, man, and that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's feels like I'm going the right direction.
So on that note, sir, yeah, you got to come back in a few months again and do this again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll be just the way things are going. It'll be a whole nother world situation.
The way things are going, it's like, so here's the thing. Okay, this is where I'm at, and this is a great place to wrap up the conversation. So, I have a very important decision to make for myself about where I do next. I don't hate Windsor, but I don't really want to be here that long either. So for me, this time is about prepping for where I want to do next. What I want to do is get my video camera, travel throughout Canada and the United States. Like come to your shop, hang out, have tea, do an interview. If you like what you see, ladies and gentlemen, you can support the podcast here. It grows and I become this awesome, like giant mega talk show. Like I think you could see that with me. I think I probably would be. I could do what Tom Schneider or Larry King or someone like that could do. I think I'd have a blast doing it. That's the direction I want to go. But what I want to do is I want to travel the world to do it and do it that way as well. Travel and meet people and let them tell their story. Which means that at some point this year or next year, I will be without age rate. I'm going to be like Alice Cooper was in his younger days, where he doesn't have an address. He just has a P.O. box somewhere and he just travels and does shows. I'm going to be like Dave Chappelle. I'm going to come to a city and like drop everything and set up and just do a live show, just literally off the cuff. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, it's what I do for money. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, right? And that's that's what I'm going to be. I have a decision of how to go out. Like, do I stay in a city like this and do what I've always done, or do I build upon the opportunities I need to build, and then just go? And I think the more I unless I meet somebody absolutely incredible that I want to settle down with and have a family in the next 6 months, I think that's where I'm going. And she'd have to be fucking incredible, right? So, but
that sounds like really exciting. Like I'm excited for you.
Yeah, you can see me being like the Dave Chappelle of talk shows, just going around, just doing like random things because like I want to do it.
I think you have the capacity to make anything that you want to do work for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, on that note, that's my head swell for the rest of the night. I think we probably should wrap it up before it just goes, it gets really big headed here. But so what you should do, this is what you should do, Josh, is you should tell people about your guitar business, the name of your company, how people can find you. And if are you going to be like, do you have a place where you sell your art as well?
Right now, I just have an Etsy page. I haven't been actively working to sell artwork, but
everything that I have on my social media, you can just message me about, and I can get back to you about availability and whatnot.
Okay.
As far as the guitar building goes, I have a website now, harmsguitars.com, which is functioning and looks
Harms,
beautiful.
so make sure I got this right. Harmsguitars.com.
Yep.
That?
It has all my social media pages linked to it, Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, I'm still, right now, technically this guitar is for sale. I've been using it for my band, but it is, one day I just have it as a demo instrument. But yeah, stuff on my website is all good. There's like a good. I do descriptions for all of my guitars. I like to write up a little story of like how it came to be, the circumstance in which I built it. I like to introduce a little bit of narrative into each one, and that's been a lot of fun. So even if you're totally not into guitars, you don't even want to play one, it might still be interesting to look at it and like appreciate it and where it's come from. So give it a gander.
Sweet. Well, everyone, that is it for tonight's Drink and Draw. This is Joshua Harms. He's awesome. I have a blast with him. Yes, he is the wizard in my story, Lights Out, which hopefully will be done by Christmas. He'll probably at least get one more read again. Yeah, it really meant something to you that I did that. Wow.
It did. I mean, I just feel so so honored. I mean, you said I had an epic beard. Like, how do I come back from that?
Yeah, well, I'm also jealous of your hair. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little jealous of the hair too. But I mean, you got it down, man. You just got it down. There's nothing I can do about it. So I see
you growing it out. I see you growing it out.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm actually still honestly, I've been wanting to get this cut. Like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this all shaved at like the very top.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go completely the opposite way, because this was for the pandemic, and I feel I'm at that point where I'm ready for another chapter, and that's what I'm gonna focus on. But again, we got awesome. Socks first, and then we'll work our way up. So sad, but so true. Not quite a mohawk, Doris. More like it's gonna be a like top there, but it's almost like a classic like mushroom cut, except maybe just a little, not quite a mushroom, but like closer to the fact like this is gone. Yeah.
Are you shaving the back too?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could do the top knot thing.
Okay.
If you wanted to.
So you want me to do a Viking thing, Doris? A Viking, like me doing a Viking? I could. I totally could. I could definitely pull off a Viking. Right. Yeah. I'll think about it. I'll think about doing the Viking braid. I probably could pull that off, actually. Go Viking. I got a Viking vote. Do you have a Viking vote, Josh?
I could put a vote in for Viking.
Is that your official stance, sir?
Yep. Yeah. You know what? I think if the braids don't work, you can just take them out.
Okay, it's fine. Viking.
Make it happen.
That's right. So
new year, new you.
Watching, listening. I will. But I have to wrap up, Doris. And by the way, thank you for coming. For everybody else watching, listening, want to support the podcast, like and subscribe. My YouTube's back. I'm actually posting videos up there again, catching up with all the episodes in the past. So you hit Josh Pentelresco, click like and subscribe there. Just Josh and Podcast. It's my Twitch handle. Hit there. Alice Zero is, I'm going to go in detail about that June 15th. My first book for the year will be called Alice 1, W-O-N, which will be kind of fun, right? And I can't wait to really get into that in more details. But for everybody else for right now, stay inspired, keep shining in the dark. I will be back Sunday with a life coach as my next guest. This will be kind of cool. And I have a hell of a week for next week for drink and draw, and a bit of a celebration for everything as well. But until then, guys, stay inspired, keep shining in the dark, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.